right. How's it going, everyone? All right. I am live and not fully prepared, apparently, but I'm going to get started here soon. Um, let's see here. All right. Let me just open up the group so that I can follow along and see who's all going to be watching here tonight. And if you can see me and hear me, I would love for you guys to comment and interact tonight. I think tonight's going to be a really cool night. So hold on. All right, so tonight, what I'm going to be doing is I'm essentially going to be I'm going to be talking about this concept that I consider to be the most powerful force for transformation, and I'm going to get to that here in just 1 second. But before I get into that, so for those of you who are maybe new, to the group, especially if this is like the first success scientist that you see, this is a new series that I just started last week. And the reason why I started this, this series is because I believe and I understand that there is a part to, to succeed in your health, and that part has to do with mindset. And so this series is really designed to help you overcome a lot of the internal blocks that you may have that may be keeping you from creating the success story that you're looking to create in your health. And here's what I mean by that. So when I first started, I want you to understand that I went through a lot of the same things that most of you did. In some cases, my situation was worse than yours. In some cases, your situation may have been worse than mine. But either way, what it takes to really, really overcome all of that is the same. And that's basically what I want to talk about today. And so, especially for those of you who maybe you have things that I will be straight up and honest, and I'd rather be straight up and honest even if you don't like what I say, but it's just the truth, which is, some of you may say, you know what, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the willpower. Like whatever it is that you're telling me that may be the reason why you're not doing some of the activities that I share. Trust me, I started the same way. Okay, when I first started, when I was dealing with extreme fatigue, I had brain fog, I couldn't work. I had a business that was failing at the time that I wasn't able to work or get off, the ground. And I ended up about $30,000 in debt. So trust me, I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be without money. I know what it's like to not have time to cook meals, to prepare meals, to do a lot of these activities. But regardless of all of that, I've been able to overcome a lot of these things. And that's basically the reason why I'm incorporating Success Sundays into the trainings, because I believe that this is going to help a lot of, people. And as a matter of fact, like I am literally going to create so much value and training for you guys that I want to make sure that any excuse that is thrown at me, that we're able to completely eliminate it. And the only reason why people are not going to succeed is because they're going to be missing this one piece, which is what I'm going to cover today. So something that, some of you know that I'm working on it, some of you don't know that I'm working on it, but I'm actually going to be putting together training to help some of you create income online, right? I mean, our economy just shifted with the entire thing that's going on around the world. A lot of people have gone to the internet, and very few people know how to tap into the digital economy. And so I'm actually creating training for some people. I mean, everyone's going to be invited, but I'm doing this specifically for a few people that I know, that I talk to, that they want to do this. They just don't have the money right now. Well, I'm going to show you how you can actually create income online. And this is going to be done in a separate group, but I'll be letting you guys know once I get closer to launching that. As of right now, I'm still putting together a lot of that training. But I bring this up because I'm seriously here giving you everything that I've got. And now I'm just basically waiting for some of you to take action and show me that you're also giving everything that you've got. So, with that being said, we're going to start out with this book, Hashimoto's Protocol. And last week, we talked a little bit about the importance of having clarity in your goals, making sure that you know exactly what it is that you want and why do you want it, right? And this is all part of the same. This is to build that internal desire for you to actually want to go out and succeed, transform your health, regardless of whatever it is that's going on in your life or in the world. This is basically what that is about. And so today I want to do a continuation of this part because I believe this is such an important piece. And then I'm going to go really deep into it and help you understand like what it is that I'm talking about, what it is that I'm looking for, and why it is that I'm looking for that. So in page 31, and I linked to a document that you're going to see in the description of this live video inside of the Facebook group. So if you want to read these books, I highly recommend that you check out Izabella Wentz website and her work. She's she does a really good job with a lot of this. But on this book on page 31, there's a section where she has this question: will you be a success story? I'm going to read a little bit here. So in working with clients over the past few years, I've noticed several common predictors of those who eventually go on to be Hashimoto's success stories versus those who continue to struggle. Individuals who struggle often manifest the following behaviors. So number one is attaching to a dogma that prevents them from getting better. So things like, I'm not going to change my diet, use medications, take supplements, or do any testing. So this is a big one because I was the same way when I started, okay? When I first started, I didn't really want to change my diet. I didn't really want to give up certain foods. Like pizza is my favorite food. And, as a matter of fact, some of you know, like today was a cheat day for me. I actually had pizza today. But, that's one day out of many. And some of you are backwards. Some of you have cheat meals practically every day, but you don't have a single day that is planned out. And this is kind of like where that comes in. It's like some of you are not really willing to give up, change your diet, or take supplements or do any kind of like testing that you may need to do. So attaching to a dogma that prevents you from getting better, it's huge, right? And I'm going to group all of this into one common thing. Second one is being unwilling to invest in themselves or necessary healing alternatives. All right. So some people, again, this kind of goes back down to the, to the money issue. Some people will not see a doctor who doesn't take their insurance or pay for, expensive tests or supplements. The other one, doctor shopping. Going to get multiple opinions from multiple practitioners, but don't follow through on the recommendations or attempt to implement multiple contradicting recommendations. So this one has to do more with not sticking to a program long enough, right? So we're doing a 30-day hydration challenge. 30 days is not really enough. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here later, but this one has to do more with time. 4, perfectionism and unrealistic expectations. So an example of that would be someone who says, I want to completely get off medications and have 0 thyroid antibodies within 1 month of making changes after having had Hashimoto's for 20 years, right? So again, this one has to do more with time, right? Not giving enough time for some of these changes to happen, and occur. Big one, number 5, adopting, air quotes here, adopting sick as part of their identity as a way to get attention from others or to fulfill other unmet needs. This is a huge one. I've actually talked about it, a number of occasions. I won't get into it too much, but that's a big one, is adopting your current condition and creating an identity out of it. And as a matter of fact, when I talk about anxiety, the way that you overcome, the way that I've been able to manage and overcome that has to do with understanding what your current identity is and being able to change that. I'll probably have to do another training just on that one alone. Number 6, paralysis by analysis. So basically someone who has spent a lot of time researching. You can tell me all about the condition, about paleo diet, selenium, gut infections, but has yet to try yet another diet or buy a supplement or get your gut tested, basically do some of the activities that you're being told to do. So these are people that when I talk to them, and trust me, like I love to teach. And there's some people that sometimes when I try to teach them, they kind of like cross their arms and they're like, oh, yeah, I already know that. I already know that. And so they kind of like shut off and close down, and they're not really receptive, and they're just looking for even more information, but they're not really taking action. So last one here, social isolation and lacking a support network. So one of the reasons why I created this group is specifically for that, is to create an environment for people to have support, for people to actually be around others who are experiencing the same challenges and are not only overcoming the challenges, but also supporting each other in the process. So those were all kind of like the common denominators. And as you can see, all of these are kind of personality traits in a way, but more specifically than that, I think it's a mindset kind of issue. And that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. Here's the opposite side of that. So basically, the common behaviors in individuals who have had successful health turnarounds. Number 1 is having a positive can-do attitude, accepting the support of a loving spouse, friend, family member, or support network, right? So if you're in this group and you decide to participate and engage with, the exercises that we do, right? Accepting that support, that's going to help you out. Number 3, being grateful for small gains and improvements and celebrating little successes, right? So this is kind of going along the lines of, doing a gratitude journal, gratitude practice in the morning, right? So if those of you who are participating in the 30-day hydration challenge, if you did one day, right, celebrate that, because there's a lot of people who haven't even started that, right? If you've been with us from the very beginning, right, you're on day, even if you're on day 10, right, if you are advanced, celebrate that, right? Celebrate week 1, celebrate week 2, celebrate week 3, and be grateful for any improvements. I've seen some people that just in like the first few days, just by adding water and minerals, they're already seeing improvements with, leg cramps or something else. Celebrate those and be grateful for those, right? That's an attitude. Number 4, dreaming big. This one's huge, and this is kind of like along the lines of what I was talking about last Success Sundays. Is getting clear on your goal, is basically dreaming big. Doing stress relief hobbies, yoga, writing, working out, knitting. In my case, I like to do hiking, paddleboarding. Went hiking yesterday. So these are all important things. Next one, being willing to invest in themselves because they are worth it. As you can see, I buy a lot of books and I invest into my education for a reason. It's because I now understand that health is my responsibility, and well, I guess like it says here, I'm worth it. So are you. Next one, refusing to stop living just because they have Hashimoto's. That's such a big one, is deciding that, hey, you're going to live your best life. That's huge. Next one, asking for help from others, surrendering the need to control the situation, and then resting when you need rest. So all of these common personalities and behaviors, I believe, can all be solved by understanding what is known as the most powerful force for transformation. Now, that concept of the most powerful force for transformation, I'm getting from this book called The Slight Edge. And again, I'm linking to this in the document in the Facebook group. So I want to show you this. I'm also going to draw it out for you. But on page 12, you can see that little drawing, right? And so the slide edge, what it means is that over time, when you do certain activities, there are some activities that can help you and they're going to help you succeed. There are other activities that are not helping you and they lead to failure. The important part here is this part right here, where initially it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of change going on, but over time there's a compounding effect, and then the growth or the decay is exponential. Okay, and that's a huge concept that I want to talk about today. There's a few really good stories in this book that describe this a little bit better. But what I want to talk about right now is chapter 3, time on your side. So this has to do with understanding time, and again, we're just getting started right here. So this is going to be good. All right. Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. Once you've lost it, you can never get it back. Okay, so that's a quote by Harvey McKay. So here's the next part. Okay, so you walk a little today, get your heart rate up a bit, you lift a few weights, you eat a little differently, then tomorrow morning you wake up and look into the mirror and you see the same old flubber. You have to be pretty well along the path to see any significant results. What keeps you doing this simple thing day after day after day? So some of you are drinking water right now, and you've been in it for a week, and you're kind of like looking around. It's like, oh, I'm not really seeing much of a difference. So what will keep you going? Some of you may think that it's willpower. Okay. But it's, and some of you may think that you need more willpower to keep going, but really, I keep reading here, really, I don't think so. A friend of mine used to say that people on diets who complain that they lack willpower are usually suffering from a lack of want power. Willpower is vastly overrated. For most people, willpower ends up looking and feeling like some sort of grim self-tyranny and involves creating an elaborate artificial reward and punishment system. Do you want to change? If so, I can show you how to tap into the most powerful force for change there is. Would you like to know what it is? Are you ready? Here it is. It's time. So got someone joining here. All right, cool. So basically it comes down to time. And this force, basically what it is position your daily actions so time is working for instead of against you, because time will either promote you or expose you. That's such a huge concept right there that I'm going to actually unwrap here in a second, but listen to this again. Position your daily actions so time is working for instead of against you, because time will either promote you or expose you. So what keeps you on the path is your slide edge philosophy, which includes your understanding of the secret of time. Knowing the secret of time, you say, if I stay on this road long enough, I'll get the result I seek. It's not a question of your mood or your feelings, and it's not a question of willpower. It's a question of simply knowing. So, all right. Let me now share my screen. Okay. Like I said, this document, I'm linking to it And let's recap a little bit of what we read here. So essentially, the slight edge, what it's talking about is if you were to do certain activities, okay, day after day after day, initially it seems like nothing is going on. Okay, now let me read this here again for you because this is such a powerful concept. Time is either going to promote you or expose you. Okay, here's what that means. Some of you may have seen, recently when I've been showing my progress, that with my progress, like I'm leaning down and I'm getting about as close as I've ever been to seeing my abs. This isn't something that happened overnight. This isn't something that happened because of the detox that I did last week or last month or even last 3 months. It's really what I've been doing for the last year. And over the last year, a lot of the things that I've been doing didn't really seem like I was making a whole lot of progress. But there came a point where my results basically started to do this, right? And so time is either going to promote you, or in other people's cases, some people may have been watching all along, but haven't really been doing what I've been doing, and nothing seems to have changed really. But with time, a lot of these people have seen their condition worsen, right? And the only difference here, okay, it's not that I know more than you do, because I've been sharing everything that I know. I've been sharing my entire protocols, all the things that I do, I've been sharing. The only thing that is different is that I basically create a series of habits that I can do every single day. And I just know that if I do this long enough, I'm eventually going to get the result that I want. What I want to emphasize is time is the most powerful force for transformation. You got to be willing to give this time. So if we go back to, reading what Izabella Wentz was talking about here, where she talks about perfectionism and unrealistic expectations, basically trying to find something that is going to fix you overnight, trying to find something that is going to fix you in 1 month or even 3 months, especially if you've had these conditions for years, right? You got to be willing to go through time and understand that it's going to be a series of habits that are going to help you push through this. So, in order to even unwrap this even more, let's talk about 3 of my favorite readings here. And I'm actually going to read them off first, and then we're going to go and dive a little bit deeper, into this. But the first reading here, this one is coming from Corinthians. So Corinthians, this is chapter 9, and I'm starting on verse, let's see, where am I starting on here? 6. So consider this: whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. What that phrase is saying is essentially the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. Okay, if you don't put a whole lot of effort into your own health, you're not going to get out a whole lot, right? So if you're just kind of like learning, consuming the information, but you're not applying it, if you're not putting in the work, right? If you sow sparingly, you're also going to reap sparingly. If you sow bountifully, meaning the more action you take, the more that you do, the more that you apply the information, the more you're going to reap. Here comes another one. This one is Galatians Chapter 6. And this one I'm going to start on. Where am I here? Wait. Okay, so on verse 6, make no mistake. This is verse 7, actually. Make no mistake. God is not mocked, for a person will reap only what he sows, because the one who sows for his flesh will reap corruption from the flesh, but the one who sows for the Spirit will reap eternal life from the Spirit. Let us not grow tired of doing good, for in due time we shall reap our harvest if we do not give up. God, that's such a good one. I want to unwrap that one here in a second, but I want to read this other one first. Matthew 13. This is the parable of the sower, and I'm starting on verse 3. So a sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seed fell on the path, and birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky ground, where it had little soil. It sprang up at once because the soil was not deep. And when the sun rose, it was scorched, and it withered for a lack of roots. Some seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it. But some seed fell on rich soil and produced fruit, 100 or 60 or 30-fold. Whoever has ears ought to hear. Okay, so why am I reading these verses? Let's go on to unwrap these and understand that what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about helping you get into a mindset of putting your effort, okay, giving it all that you've got. This is basically about going all in and taking massive action towards your health. If you only do a little bit of action, if you don't go all in, if you're just like, I'm just going to do this hydration thing and, that's all I'm going to do, and I'm only going to do it here and there when I feel like it, you're also going to reap that. But if you go into it and you look at everything that I do and you say, cool, like I'm doing the water, what else can I do? Minerals, cool, I'm going to do the minerals. What else can I do? The vitamin D, okay, I'm going to go do the vitamin D. The more that you put into it, the more action that you take towards your health, you're going to get more out of it. Okay. And this is something that I can't help people with because this needs to come from you. Last Sunday, that's exactly what I was trying to help you guys do, is the more clear you're on your goal and you find a reason why you want to achieve that goal, the more you're going to grow a desire. And that's what's going to help you take massive action. That's what's going to develop that deep inner desire to want to go from doing this kind of, half-assedly to, put it in, I guess in the most direct way, versus going all in, versus just saying, you know what, I know that if I do all of these things consistently over time, I am going to get the result that I want. Why wouldn't you go and do everything, right? That's basically what this is trying to teach. Now, the second part, God, this is huge. And one of the reasons why I chose this reading is because my journey is not just about health, but I'm on a mission to help and create 1,000 success stories. Okay. As of right now, I only have a handful. Okay. I have, I don't know, probably about 15-ish, just under 20. And, and I've been sharing information for years, right? So understand like one thing, that I am living and I'm in need of a lot of this information myself to keep going. I could have very easily, within the first year, said, you know what, people don't care to get healthy. People don't really care to fix their health. And I could have just given up. But if I had given up, then people like, Lisa would not have had her, her success story. Ina wouldn't have had her success story. People like Amy, the other Lisa, there's a few people who have been able to create their success story because I was able to keep going. And one of the things that I am looking for personally when it comes to, building this community, is for people to kind of like wake up and see that, hey, this isn't just about me and this isn't just about you, but really this is about creating a group where we all can overcome this together and create something, big out of it. And here's where this comes in. So, a person will reap only what he sows, because the one who sows for his flesh will reap corruption from the flesh. Meaning, if I were to be doing, and teaching this just to gain something out of it, then I'm going to basically, get nothing more than that. But the one who sows for the Spirit will reap eternal life from the Spirit. So basically, what this means is that when you start to do this from the heart, because you know that this is going to impact other people, I cannot even begin to explain the number of blessings that will come your way when you start to actually sow for the Spirit. And this part right here, let us not grow tired of doing good. There have been many times where I do trainings like this, and there's not a whole lot of people that watch them, but I still do them because I know that eventually some people may watch these recordings, and just like some people have watched the recordings of trainings that I've done in the past, and one of those recordings could be the recording that would change someone's life, right? And I keep doing this because I know that in due time we shall reap our harvest if we do not give up. So I'm giving you here a parable from my personal journey as I'm trying to build this community, because it's the same thing. And, for those of you who, who have asked me, or, who we've talked to about, creating income online, guess what? It's the same thing. The same struggles that you're going to face doing that are the same struggles that people face in their health, is that they do not give it enough time. They give up, and they don't continue to do the activities that they need to do to reach and get the results that they want. Such a huge concept here. This one's big for a number of reasons, because I think that this one kind of covers both the health aspect and finances, and in this case also with the group. What I'm seeing, and this is the reason why I keep going regardless, it's because I understand this part right here. A sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seed fell on the path and birds came and ate it up. Okay, so some people joined this group, and who knows what happened to them. They never introduced themselves. They just, whatever it is that they do, some birds basically come and eat them up. We never hear from them. Okay, we never see them. Some people fall on rocky ground where it had little soil. All right, so some people are just, maybe just not ready for this. Maybe they have way too much going on in their life, and they're just, not ready to make changes in their life. I'm okay with that. It sprang up at once because the soil was not deep. And when the sun rose, it was scorched and withered for lack of roots. This one, I love this one mostly because this, if you've seen my trainings on gut health, talk about understanding how plants work and how our gut health works, right? If you have seed that goes into soil that's not deep enough, and the sun rises and it scorches it, right? What I talk about that a plant needs to be healthy: water, minerals, pH, temperature, right? So in this case, temperature was too hot. It scorched it and it withered for lack of roots. Lack of roots is basically kind of like saying lack of gut health. So that one's cool for that reason, but let's keep going here. So some seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, right? So thorns, usually plants that are thorns are basically considered weeds, and weeds tend to steal nutrients from plants, which is why in gardening you want to go and keep your garden, free of weeds, because they're essentially eating up nutrients. Your gut health is exactly the same. Parasites and other bad bacteria, they're like weeds and they steal nutrients from you and they practically choke you. Like that's the exact same thing that's going on here. In the case of the group, some people come into this group and you know what, not everyone in this group is on board with what we do. Some people I've never met, and if they're not supportive, maybe they are the thorns of the group. Who knows, right? But that could be the case. But here's the thing: some seed fell on rich soil and produced fruit 100, 60, or 30-fold. Whoever has ears ought to hear. The reason why I keep going with this project and why I keep sharing this information is because I know that as I continue to share my journey, as I continue to teach, as I continue to share everything that I do, there's going to be some of my information, right, that is just like seed that is going to fall on rich soil, meaning there's going to come a person and their soil, their mindset is ready. They are ready to go all in to take massive action. And when they do, that's going to produce fruit, right? That's going to create a success story. And when a success story is created, there is usually a lot of other people that follow. And some of you can see this as you start to see other people participate. This is what I mean, that it's not just about you. When you share your story, when you share your journey, understand that you're inspiring other people to also change their life and change their health. And that's the reason why, as I'm doing these trainings, this is what I'm looking for, right? This is why when I see people participate and engage, this is why I ask for people to participate and engage, is because, after years of sharing this, I know that there's people that are just not going to take action no matter what I teach, no matter what I share, no matter what I do. And again, I give you guys everything that I've got every time that I get on camera and I go live. Like I want to create that success story, but there needs to be that reciprocity where you on the other side, you got to be willing to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this, right? You got to get to that point. And so that's what I look for, because if you don't show me that, the only thing that I can assume is that a bird came and ate you. Something happened to you. Maybe you fell into soil that had, that's full of weeds, and, something's choking you out. I don't know what's going on with you, but those of you who are engaging, who are showing me, hey, here I am, I'm drinking water, I'm doing the minerals, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. That shows me that you have landed on rich soil, that you are taking action, that you're at least beginning to move in the direction. And if you understand this training today, what I am saying is keep going. Because if you continue to do these activities long term over time, that's where you're going to see the results. You're not going to see the results right now. You may not see the results in 30 days, but if you keep going 90 days, 6 months out, a year from today, you're going to look back and you're going to look at your results, and that's where you're going to see the biggest difference. That's what this training is about, is understanding that it's going to take time, and you have to have that mindset that you're going to not do this for, just a 30-day period or, just today, but go into it thinking, hey, if I change and create habits long term, it's just a matter of time before I get the results that I'm looking for. That's what I'm trying to help you with. That's what the Program Energy Bootcamp that's coming up on May 1st, that's basically what that is designed to do. Is I'm going to help you create habits so that long term you can look back and see that those habits promoted your health, that you got better as a result. That's all that health is. It's just creating those habits. So today, what I want to do is, where am I? So, so what I want to do today is I'm giving away a bottle of fermented cod liver oil. So this is what we use for vitamin D. And again, for those of you who may be brand new, when it comes to getting energy, which is one of the more common things that people want to find out, energy, better sleep, a lot of that has to do with your gut and your immune system. And I use the analogy that water, minerals, and vitamin D is essentially what your body needs. If you were to be a big battery, minerals are the conductive material that allows you to use the energy that your body produces. Vitamin D is basically like the charge for that battery. A lot of people, they don't know that they're deficient in vitamin D. Most people don't get tested for vitamin D. The few people that do get tested for vitamin D are usually taking supplements that measure vitamin D in IUs, whether it's 1,000 IUs, 3,000 IUs, 5,000 IUs. Some people take way more than that. What people don't understand is that if you have gut-related issues, that means that the foods that you're eating, and the reason why you're deficient in nutrients to begin with, and like vitamin D, is because you don't have the right gut flora. You're missing probiotics, and more than likely, you probably have bad bacteria like parasites, yeast overgrowth, mold, basically things that are like weeds that take nutrients from you, and that's why you become deficient in certain nutrients. So all of these other vitamin D supplements, they don't really do a whole lot for you. Once you start to understand food, okay, this is not a supplement, this is food. Once you start to understand how this works, you start to understand that this fermented cod liver oil is basically what would happen in your gut if you had good healthy flora and you ate food that had the nutrients that basically turns into vitamin D. As you begin to increase your vitamin D, if you Google this, you can see that there's a direct correlation between your vitamin D levels and your immune system, meaning that the higher your vitamin D levels, the stronger your immune system. Another way of saying that is that the stronger your immune system, the better your digestive system is going to be. So the higher your vitamin D, the better you're going to be at digesting food. Another way of saying that is the higher your vitamin D levels, the better your body is at uptaking nutrients. And that's probably the biggest one that I want to emphasize today. Some of you are taking a lot of supplements and they're not doing a whole lot for you. That's because your body's not uptaking nutrients properly. What helps you uptake nutrients properly is vitamin D, right? And so this one, the reason why this works very well is because fermented basically means that there was some sort of probiotic that digested the food. And then fermentation is once you break down food to its smallest component, meaning, say, for example, carbohydrates will be broken down to the smallest component, which is sugar, glucose. Protein, for example, would be taking protein and breaking it down to its smallest component, which will be an amino acid. In the case of fats, like fermented cod liver oil, it will be like taking an omega-9 type of fat and breaking it down into an omega-3, which is the smallest component. After that, right, that's digestion. After that, there's fermentation, and that's taking that small component and turning it into some sort of nutrient. So starches, proteins, and fats broken down into smallest components Probiotics make nutrients out of that. They make vitamins, they make hormones, they make basically everything that your body needs, and that happens through fermentation. And that's something that would happen in your gut if you had the environment and the probiotics needed for that to happen. So fermented foods, fermented beverages, which is my background. I used to brew beer, so I would ferment beer. If I ferment wheat, I make B vitamins with brewer's yeast. That's basically what I make when I brew a Hefeweizen. When you ferment cod liver oil, you make vitamin D. When you ferment carrots, say for example, making kimchi, you're making vitamin A because that's what carrots have. Beta carotene turns into vitamin A through fermentation. Not only are you getting the vitamins, you're also getting the probiotics that you need for your body to produce it without the use or need for supplements, which is the biggest thing that I advocate for. Like, I don't like to be tied to supplements, right? The things that I do, the things that I take, like if I take herbs and or things like this, these are foods, and the herbs that I take are for detoxing purposes, and they're nourishing. They're actually food as well. They just have detoxifying and cleaning properties. Big difference between that and what I would consider supplements. Supplements for me would be other things like, people who take, like adrenal support or, whatever other kind of like stuff that, people take. It's very different than this. But anyway, so I want to give this away today. And so the person that I am, choosing today is Yvette. And that's because I've seen, the drive to actually want to continue and, be part of this, right? So, I'm sharing with the training, like the kind of stuff that I look and the kind of stuff that I notice, because I know that that's not coming from me, right? I'm not making people do stuff. I just create an environment and then I just wait to see if people are ready for it. And those who are, that's basically who I'm rewarding, because I know that it's coming from them, that they're the ones that are going to do this regardless of what I say. And so, Yvette, congratulations. I hope that this helps you on your journey. I hope that this helps you create your success story. Remember that it's you creating that success story. And I want to congratulate you. And I hope that these trainings help you. Guys, that's all that I have for today. I'm really enjoying doing these Success Sunday trainings. So I hope that you guys are enjoying them as well. I believe that they're important. Let me check out some of these comments here and see if you guys have questions. So, hi, Christina, you're sneaking out of work. That's cool. Yvette, oh my God, thank you. Oh, I'm glad you are here. You get to actually see it. That's awesome. Thanks. I'm glad that you're here. Love that comment. All right. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me about anything that I've covered so far. If not, I see there's supposed to be 8 comments here. I'm only reading about 4. Let me check here on my phone. All right, so this was just you guys talking. Cool. All right, guys, that's all that I have for today. Thank you for being here tonight, and I'll be talking to you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Talk to you next time. See ya.